Effectively into our last hour of fishing championship Sunday at the Whataburger Bassmaster Elite at Lay Lake. We got a Brandon Palaniuk trying to win this thing wire to wire. He is hanging on, but not by any sort of large margin at this time. 2 pounds, 4 ounces. It's estimated ahead of Will Davis. First time ever for the Elite Series to come here, and let's go a little deeper into what we have seen this week with our Minn Kota Unlock the Lake. Take a look at 5 anglers who have excelled here and have excelled pretty much off and on all season long for the past couple of years. And we'll start it out with Brandon Cobb. Brandon Cobb, our Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year points leader by a good margin here in 2023.
We were wondering, Davey, when Brandon Cobb would struggle this season. He's put it together so good the first 4 events, plus the classic of the season. But like you said on day 1 of this event, when we saw him start to thrive, this is the kind of tournament Brandon Cobb can survive in. Not the heaviest weight event, some sight fishing going on, some shad spawn. It kind of seemed in his element again, another top 10 for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Cobb excels in these type tournaments. Well, he excels in every tournament in 2023, but this really does fit his style. To be younger, he has kind of got the old school mentality. I don't really necessarily like to fish with my electronics so much, although he can do that in the wintertime around home. He does it a lot, but this time of year, he said, I just really enjoy putting my trolling motor down, getting close to the bank, looking for fish on the bed like this one right here. What a great shot that was.
Great.
Brandon Cobb using a wacky worm a lot, but he's some other things, you know, a shaky head here, this fish on the bed. We saw him catch some fish on a buzzbait. He does a variety of things, but Brandon Cobb has definitely got it on fire this year.
And let's look at Bryan New. Bryan New having a very uncharacteristically frustrating season and really needed this tournament to turn things around in his mind, if no place else.
Yeah, and sometimes, Tommy, when you leave the dock in 10th place on the final day, over 10 pounds back, you're either like the nail that's about to get hammered the rest of the way in the board, or you're the one that kind of rises above and pulls something out of your hat and really gains a lot of dollars in your bank account and a lot of points on the board. He has done that, putting his name in contention. If those guys slipped today and didn't get a limit, Davey, Bryan New would have been right there waiting on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Bryan New has to be thinking about glad to turn this season around, but boy, day 2 here on Lay Lake, what a difference it could have been if he'd have just put a couple keepers in the boat. He might be holding another blue trophy over his head this afternoon. But he's definitely made some points and some dollars today, catching these fish, starting out with a buzzbait and then picking up the spinning rod and catching those other keepers.
Biggest, at one point, the biggest limit of the day for Bryan New. And here's the local hero, Will Davis.
Never lower than 7th in this event, Tommy. After day 1, he was 7th, just out of camera coverage. We got to watch him, though, all day long. Teach us a little bit about Lay Lake. He kept a lot of things open to options this week. He did some shad spawn, did some sight fishing, went to the current. Now we've seen him kind of change a little bit on this final day, trying some stuff to maybe catch a big bag, Davey, but he negated back to what he knows, and he has marched his way up that leaderboard, still staying in the hunt.
Yeah, oftentimes so much local knowledge can burn you, but it definitely did not do that for Will Davis Jr. here this week. Like you said, never below 7th place. Seen him do a lot of different things, including this afternoon. We expected to see him stay up behind the Logan Martin Dam all afternoon. He caught this fish. Unfortunately, he caught himself. Handled it real well, kept his composure, and now he's really within about 1 more of those fish to maybe take the lead from Brandon Palaniuk.
For $100 grand, I'll take a hook in the hand, Tommy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of them would.
Good
Jason
trade.
Christie, actually, it was yesterday when he changed the complexion of this tournament, bringing in the biggest fish of the season for the Elite Series, 9 pounds and 4 ounces, rocketing him up right behind Brandon Palaniuk to start this day, just a couple of pounds and change back.
Yeah, and Jason Christie got everyone's attention, including Brandon Palaniuk, even though he had a pretty solid lead ahead of Jason Christie going into today. But if you know Jason Christie, not only did he have the biggest bag of the tournament, the biggest fish of the tournament, but he's also one of the most feared person on Championship Sunday that's ever fished the Bassmaster Elite Series tournaments. Got off to a slow start this morning. No fish in the live well for the first few hours. Finally picked up a spinning rod, throwing a wacky worm like he caught the big fish yesterday, but he said it's just been too slow doing that. Picked the frog back up, and this happened.
On day 3 of this event, he gets that one in the boat and makes a big difference. Today, he lost it, and he's still just a fish short, it seems, of Brandon Palaniuk, our day 1, 2, and 3 leader, Tommy.
Trying to win this one wire to wire. He has done it before on the Bassmaster Elite Series a couple of times.
Brandon Palaniuk talks a lot about when it's your time, it's your time. I don't know if everyone believes that because some people, it hasn't ever been their time on the Bassmaster Elite Series Tournament Trail to win, so they think, well, that can't quite be fair. But Brandon Palaniuk has fished like that this week. He stayed real close to takeoff, right there in a very, very popular creek, Beeswax Creek, and he's just fished everything in front of him. He's adjusted to the water levels, caught a lot of his fish on the drop shot worm, blue glimmer, green pumpkin type worm. Caught a few other fish, sight fishing, especially on day one, caught the bigger fish sight fishing, but he's just done a good job of fishing everything in the area, taking advantage of the conditions instead of complaining about the conditions. He's just adjusted to them.
Well, we thought about this starting the final day championship Sunday as a three-man race, and those three men have done a remarkable job for 4 days and especially on championship Sunday. And that is your Minn Kota Unlocked the Lake.